Hey everyone, welcome to this user guide manual for the Razoren Frigate for StarMade. This is the only ship I'm going to be doing this for, so pay attention. Anyway, you got your credits together, you have 133 mil. Okay, you can buy your Razoren Mark V, which is the latest model from the Grozik Heavy Industries Razoren. We're going to buy the frigate here, spawned it. There it is, right close to the shop. Now I got it as close to the shop as I could, but there's still a bug with the game involving the missiles, which I'll get to in a little bit. First thing you want to do is get inside the ship and activate the faction module so someone doesn't steal the ship out from underneath you. Kinda wish my astronaut had a jetpack or something, because going through space like this is pretty darn slow. Anyway, you can see the back of the ship. Once I get inside in build mode, I'll turn off the HUD and show you a full 360 of the ship. Give you a little bit of a tour that way. But in this regard, you can enter the ship from on the rear, I should say the aft port or starboard sides. You have these access panels, or at the rear of the bridge, which I'll get to later. There's also another Plex door. You go through the airlock in case you're disoriented. With the gravity off, you have your lights indicating outside and inside, blue to inside the hull. Now we're entering the bridge. Now as a utilitarian ship, it's not pretty. You have, well, let's say you've got power and you've got other instances. You got parts of your cannon actually coming back, protruding. That's how far the cannons are, we'll get to that. Here's your main service section. Down here you'll find your core weapons computer, your D1000 unguided missile computer, your salvage computer, and your Powerdrain computer. Over here you'll have your faction module, which will enter our faction, and your AI module, which we'll get to in a bit. And you'll have another gravity unit here and a few Plex storages to make your way. Now before we get started and actually start flying the ship, there's a few things you need to do. First of all, I'll keep the gravity for now. The ship comes equipped with 4 quad cannon turrets. The turrets require to be activated in both their faction module and AI before they'll function. Now that the ship has been claimed, we need to claim the turrets. While we're out doing that, I need to note on the missiles, since the ship is 232 meters long, and the radius of the shop's influence of any shop is about 80 meters from what I've seen, the missiles, the current output, for whatever reason, don't spawn correctly. Now I've tried saving this several times with them in the correct output, but they will always kind of revert to whatever is the closest to the shop radius influence. So to correct that, we'll do that real quick. You fly to the front of each of your unguided missile bays, and in this case I'm actually outside the influence of the sector, so you can't see it, but it'd be the same way if you could see it. You simply toggle. In this case you're going to hear me click, toggle off, toggle on. Basically these would be saying make current output off, on. If you could see them, it would, by default these already are make current output. I'm just toggling them off and on again, and all that's doing is it's refreshing the ship's output for whatever reason, even though they're saved as make current output at the very end here. They don't launch the missiles from the correct locations. But now they will, since I've done that to all 6 missile bays. Antimatter cannons here are fine. The salvage beams here are fine, and the power drain beams are all fine. I don't understand why the missiles are the only ones that do that, but I've tried several installing and uninstalling and reinstalling the missile bricks, and to no avail. They still spawn launching missiles from the wrong locations. But now it's fixed, since I spawned a fresh ship. When a server restarts, you may have to go through this again. It only takes a minute. Here we are at the back of the turret, and since I'm sort of straddling the shop's influence and the sector that we're in, you can't see it, but I know that, I guess it's another bug in the game, but I know that's my faction block there on the back end of my turret. So I'll click R on it, enter the faction signature, and now I want to make the turret AI active. I want to do this to all 4 turrets. basically setting up the ship. Server is auto-saving there. And we fly around to the bottom. Take note of the markings. There's a lot of aesthetics built to the ship, but they all have a functional underline. These are supposed to be heat dissipation arrays for the shields. Not that the game has anything to do with heat, but I figured it'd kind of add a false utility to the actual product of the shields. We have power generators here, and a plasma induct coil system for the engines, if that's how in fact it would work. But here's our 4 thrusters, and here we are going to activate the 2 underlying quad cannon turrets. There's plenty more room to build on the ship if you want to add anything to it. Okay, 1 more turret to go. Information regarding this frigate's weapons capabilities I'll add into the comments of this video. Okay, all turrets are active. They've all been added to the faction. And they should all function. Here's a few stabilizers that are filled with shields. And let me go back. I don't need to go in the front. I actually closed off that. You saw that other plex door entry and exit of the. That's more of a actual cockpit. But let's go into the back of the bridge here. I'll give you another example of how this ship could be run. If there's someone piloting the ship for your faction, say, and you've got other members of your faction who want to stand on the ship and observe, I highly recommend you turn on the gravity or else you'll get sucked out of the ship when the ship's moving. So gravity's on. This is the topmost deck of the bridge. Gives you full 360. Look outside. Witness what's going on if there's a fight or what have you. Follow the ramps on down to the second layer of the bridge. Pretty much the same thing. This one is a lot flatter. And we'll drop down to here in this level. Another bridge, and you can always add things too if you'd like. You know, display panels or tables or chairs or what have you. This is just meant to be a basic beginners. Alright, we have plenty of plex storage here in the innermost workings under the bridge. Then you follow these ramps on down, and you're back into the central core area, the core room, I guess you could call it. Now let's get inside the ship and set some things up. Okay, now you've got a few cockpits to toggle through. Okay, you got the ones nearest the cannons. You got 2 of each in case one gets taken out. You've got 2 cockpits on the bridge, and then 2 more in the actual cockpit itself, which we'll use. Now, press I, go into weapons, and set up your weapons computer, your CPU for missiles, your Powerdrain computer, and your salvage computer. Now, let's look at the rate of fire of the cannons. Pretty potent. Each one of those little blasts is 820.9 damage. Okay, let's test the missiles, make sure they come out in nice 3 clusters, which they do after I reset them. There are missiles. Powerdrain works okay. I actually recommend using the Powerdrain after you've knocked the shields down on a ship and you've hit it with the missile bays. And the missiles will blow holes in the hull, and if you actually can see the power, the exposed power modules on the ship, you immediately follow up with your Powerdrain. It will disable the ship's power. And after that, you've got your 4 salvage beams, which actually have quite the fast rate of salvage. But let's pop out here for a second, knock out the HUD, and I'll give you a quick 360 of the ship. Okay. Here's your side view. Here's rotating to the front view. No, other side view. Going to the top. Let's go to the rear, or I should say the aft, if you want to use correct ship terminology. And here's the bottom. I left the bottom mostly blank because there's going to be people who want to add things like escape pods or more turrets or docking modules for fighters and whatnot. So I figured I would leave that blank, just do a basic hull shaping to give it some kind of aesthetic appeal. But back to the fore part of the ship. The Razoren, which is actually abbreviated of the Russian word Razoren, which I believe means destruction. Even though this is not a destroyer, it is a frigate. It just sounded cool, so I stuck with it. Either way, let's get back inside the ship. And actually, first of all, I'll turn on the HUD again and tell you mass 17,804. Length is 232 meters. Height is 63 meters, and width is 100 meters. Power, it has 3,888,251. The regen rate is 1,862,248. Thrust is 35,734. Shields are 965,470 with a 15,999 second shield recharge per second, which is just one under 16,000. Recovery is 4 seconds. Alright, let's go to the ship and see what she can do. Now, being that it's over, well, it's quite the hefty ship, it's still a frigate, so it's going to be rather light on its feet when compared to destroyers, cruisers, and carriers out there. But there you have your rate of fire. See what the missiles will do. And these asteroids here, they blow some pretty big holes in things. They were designed for anti-ship, so smaller targets, you may actually have the dead zone in the middle there if you're too close. So I'll back up a little bit when shooting this. The reload rate on the missiles is 9.9 seconds. And I believe the blast radius is 33.6. Could be wrong on that, but it is in the 33 range for your blast. Rather devastating. Let's look at how the salvage beams operate. Not the fastest in the world, but not bad. I gave it a rudimentary ability in this regard. The ship can always be augmented to suit your needs. Again, it is a base ship. The Mark V was meant to have all the enhancements over the 4, 3, and 2. At this point, I'm not even going to go over those. The ship was still in preliminary stages. I do have a cold, so if you notice that in my voice. Either way, I'll post further technical data on the ship in the comments below the video here, as well as I will link to where you can download the ship. Again, this is a frigate. It's not a destroyer. It's not a cruiser. It's not a carrier. So don't buy it and think it's the end-all be-all ship. It's designed to be affordable. It's 133 million credits. So if you have multiple people in your faction, a few of you can actually buy the ship, and working together they can be quite formidable, just by looking at the cannons here. My computer is starting to slow down a little bit. I probably do need a new graphics card. Either way, let's zoom out here. The ship. Different camera angles here for you. Looking pretty good. I'm holding right shift now. And there you have it. The Razoren Mark V heavy frigate. Well, it didn't do as much damage as I thought it was going to do. Let's try that one more time. Having fun with asteroids. There we go. Alright, thanks for watching.